Good morning students. Welcome back to online classes of analog communication. So in today's class we are going to see the modulation techniques for generation of your frequency modulation. I hope you remember what is frequency modulation, right? In the last class we have started our new chapter, second unit, that is your angle modulation. So what is an angle modulation? Let's just revise with that. So angle of your carrier is varied in accordance with the amplitude of your message signal. Yes, so in that one we are having two types. First one was your frequency modulation as well as your phase modulation. Correct? So what is your frequency modulation? Frequency modulation is nothing but a type of your angle modulation where instantaneous frequency of the carrier is varied in accordance with your amplitude of your message signal. So if you are varying the frequency, then what will be the constant terms here? Phase and amplitude are constant. And what is your phase modulation? Phase of the carrier is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal. And the terms which are constant over here are your frequency as well as the amplitude. That we have seen in the last class, and we have seen the mathematical part of that one also. Right? So in today's class we will first see the problems. Okay, that what will be coming in the examination part. So the first problems will be related to your frequency and phase modulation, how you are going to generate the power, bandwidth, how you have to calculate the frequency deviation, and all we are going to see. And the next important topic that we are going to see in today's class is generation of your frequency modulation. So let's get started with today's class. So as I have said, we will be going to discuss the problems first in the today's class. So first see what is the problem. Okay, I have given the two problems. First problem I will clearly explain. In the second problem, that's an assignment for your people. You have to do the problem, get the answer and attach it to the Google form, right? So see, first I am giving the question is a sinusoidal modulating waveform whose amplitude is 5 volts and frequency is of 2 kilohertz, which is applied to an FM modulator or a FM generator, which has a frequency sensitivity of 40 hertz per volts. So what you have to calculate here? You have to calculate three things. First is frequency deviation, next you have to calculate the modulation index, and then bandwidth. Okay, the very first you write first the given part. What is the given things that you are having over here? First one is amplitude of the modulating signal, AM is equals to 5 volts. We got the amplitude of the waveform is your modulating signal, I have said. So modulating signal is nothing but your message signal, and that amplitude of the message signal or the modulating signal is AM is equals to 5 volts. Frequency of the modulating signal, see, same you are having the sinusoidal modulating waveform of amplitude 5 volts and frequency 2 kilohertz. So frequency of the modulating signal FM is given as 2 kilohertz. Now frequency sensitivity, as I have given in the last equation in the last class itself, you are having the frequency sensitivity KF is equals to 40 kilohertz, okay, per volt. Now you are having the formula. First thing you have to calculate the frequency deviation. I hope you remember the formula for the frequency deviation. Delta F is equals to KF into AM. What is KF? KF is nothing but your frequency sensitivity into amplitude of the modulating signal. That is your 40 into 5. Correct? This is the 40 hertz per volt and this is your 5 volts. That gives your 20 hertz of your frequency sensitivity. Substituting the values in the above equation, you will get the first part, frequency sensitivity you have got. Right? Now see, next thing what you have to find out, as you got the delta F as 200 hertz, you have to find the formula for the modulating index. What you have said second one? Modulation index. How you will be denoting the modulation index in your frequency modulation? That is given as beta. Beta, that is modulation index, is equals to delta F by FM. What is FM? FM is nothing but your modulating signals frequency. How much it is has given? 2 kilohertz. So substitute that value. You already got the delta F value. What is delta F value? 200 hertz divided by 2 kilohertz, 10 to the power of 3. So 2 into 1000. So the beta value that you are getting is 0.1, means it is less than 1. If beta is less than 1, which kind of modulation, frequency modulation you will be getting? Narrow band frequency modulation. Correct? So if beta is greater than 1, then it is called as wide band frequency modulation. I have discussed it in last class itself. If beta is less than 1, it is narrow band frequency modulation. Seema, if the formula for getting your bandwidth for beta less than 1, then it is bandwidth BW is equals to 2 FM. Actually, this formula is arised from a method called as Carson rule, where the transmission bandwidth of the of your signal or the frequency modulation will be twice that of your, what you will say, frequency of the modulating wave. So the formula for the bandwidth of the narrow band frequency modulation will be same as that of your amplitude modulated wave. So what was the bandwidth formula for the amplitude modulated wave? BW is equals to 2 FM. What is the FM value you have got over here from the question? 2 kilohertz. So we'll substitute the value 2 kilohertz, and the bandwidth required for the narrow band frequency modulation is 4 kilohertz. Initially we don't know what was the frequency modulation, either it is wide band or it is narrow band, but we got the beta value less than 1, so it is called as narrow band frequency modulation. In case if we got the beta value greater than 1, then it will be the wide band frequency modulation. And to find out if in case if you are having a wide band frequency modulation, at that time if you want to find out the bandwidth, then the formula will be BW is equals to 2 of delta F plus FM, means your frequency 2 into frequency deviation into your modulating frequency. So here you got the beta less than 1, so you have to find out the bandwidth for the narrow band frequency modulation. And the narrow band frequency modulation, you got the bandwidth is 4 kilohertz. So you got the value of, first is frequency deviation, that is 200 hertz. Next you got the value of modulation index, that is 0.1. Depending upon the 0.1, as it is narrow band frequency modulation, you have found the bandwidth in the terms of BW is equals to 2 FM, which will be similar to your amplitude modulated wave. In case if you are having greater than 1, then the formula for the bandwidth will be 2 into delta F plus FM. Remember this, I am repeating once again. You make a note, BW or the bandwidth is equals to 2 into delta F plus FM for wide band frequency modulation. For narrow band frequency modulation, bandwidth is equals to 2 FM. So this was your first question. Now we will go for the second problem. This problem I am giving you as an assignment. I will derive every terms. I will tell you what are the terms you are going to find out and what are the given part. Okay, just tell me the answer. That is your assignment. The second question is, so an FM, a frequency modulated wave, is given as S of t is equals to 20 cos of 8 pi into 10 to the power of 6t plus 9 sine into 2 pi into 10 to the power of 3t. Okay, you have to calculate the frequency deviation. Frequency deviation means delta F. Then you have to calculate the bandwidth. How you will be calculating the bandwidth? You have to find out the value of beta. Okay, then you have to find out the power of the FM. Now the given equation, what you are having, the solution, S of t is equals to 20 into cos 8 pi into 10 to the power of 6t plus 9 sine 2 pi into 10 to the power of 3t. Now go back to the part of your FM equation. What is your FM equation formula? S of t is equals to AC cos 2 pi FCT plus beta into sine 2 pi FMT. This is the formula for your frequency modulated wave, isn't it or not? Now take the value similarly what you are having. Compare these two equations and take the values from that one. So what is the first equation that you will be getting over here? AC is equals to 20, nothing, yes or no? Amplitude of the carrier signal AC is equals to 20 we have got. Then frequency of the carrier signal 2 pi FCT. 2 pi, here I am having 8 pi. 2 means 2 into 4. So you will be getting 4 pi, yes. Again you are having 10 to the power of 6. What is 10 to the power of 6? So I will get FC is equals to 4 into 10 to the power of 6. That is nothing but 4 megahertz. Yes. Then afterwards, then you are having 2 pi FMT. Already we are having 2 pi. FM means only 1. Right? Yes or no? So FM is nothing but 1. 10 to the power of 3 means kilohertz. So your frequency of the message signal or the modulated signal is equals to 1 kilohertz. Here 10 to the power of 3, 1 kilohertz. 10 to the power of 6, this is megahertz. You have got that one. Now the modulation index, what you are saying? Beta into sine 2 pi FC, 2 pi FMT. Right? So what is the value of beta over here? This is capital B. Okay. Next go. Here the values you are having, you have to find out the formula. Here the value of the modulation index is greater than 1, hence the which kind of modulation you are having? Wide band frequency modulation. Now we know the formula for the beta, that is equals to delta f by fm. Yes, so we can find the value of your delta f now. Frequency deviation, you are getting that frequency deviation. See, last time we have found the frequency deviation in another method, but as we are having the beta value, we can directly find the frequency deviation from this method. So delta f is equals to beta into fm. What is beta value you are having? What is beta value? 9. And what is the fm value? 1 kilohertz. The answer you have to get here. And the formula for the wideband frequency modulation BW is equals to 2 into beta plus 1 into fm. Either this one you can apply, either the formula that I have told, that also you can apply. And the third one is you have to find the power. Power of your FM will be similar to that of the power that we have got in the amplitude modulation, that is carrier power PC is equals to AC square divided by 2R, where I am assuming R is equals to 1 ohm, just 1 ohm. I have given the R value, I have given the frequency, modulating frequency, then I have got the amplitude of your carrier frequency. Every value I have given, you have just have to calculate and get me the answers and give the assignment. Okay, by tomorrow or day after tomorrow or by Monday, you people submit me the assignment of these 2 questions. Practice the first question, the first problem, and second one also. If you remember that formula for the bandwidth of your wideband frequency modulation, you can go for that. In case you don't want to do that one, if you are okay with this one also, you can do this one also. Okay, so this is how you can find out the formula, the terms beta, frequency deviation, bandwidth, as well as the power of FM signal. So these are the 2 problems that are your assignments. Then next topic, the generation of your frequency modulation. So in the last class we have seen the mathematical expression of your frequency modulation. There you have got the integration part. So as to get your frequency modulation, the thing we have to do is, first we have to integrate the message signal, and that integrated message signal has to given to a phase modulator through a particular carrier, and the output resultant signal is nothing but your frequency modulated wave. Okay, ma'am. So the frequency modulated wave can be generated by first integrating the message signal m of t, then using that result as an input to the phase modulator. Then your message signal and the carrier signal, which are phase modulated, are resulted signal which gives your frequency modulated signal. That is, S of t is equals to AC cos 2 pi fct plus 2 pi kf into integration of message signal m of t. This is how you will be getting the signal. And the standard equation of your signal is what you are having, S of t is equals to cos 2 pi fct plus kf into integration of m of t into dt. Now what I am going to do here, I will be substituting the value of m of t, that is 2 pi kf, okay, afterwards. So I will do the formula for cos of a plus b. What is cos a plus b formula? Cos a cos b minus sin a sin b. What is cos a over here? 2 pi kf ct is cos a variable, and 2 pi kf integration of m of t is your b variable. So this is the formula similar to that of your cos a plus b. Then I will get it as AC is the variable term, multiplication of AC cos 2 pi fct into cos 2 pi kf integration of m of t. This is cos a into b minus sin AC sin 2 pi fct into 2 pi kf integration of m of t into dt. So this is the equation that from when you are going to generate the narrowband frequency modulation, correct? So for that one, what you are having, the beta value or the modulation index 2 pi kf into integration of m of t should be less than equals to 1. Yes or no? So from that equation, when your cos theta is equals very smaller than 1, then you will get the answer as AC cos 2 pi fct minus AC sin 2 pi fct 2 pi kf integration of m of t. This term will be same. Here you will be substituting the value of 1 for the narrowband frequency modulation. So this is the equation of your narrowband frequency modulation. SEMA, in this narrowband frequency modulation generation of FM, you are having 2 types for frequency modulation. One is narrowband frequency modulation. Second one is your wideband frequency modulation. For usually for frequency modulation, what is the term you are going to see? message signal is given to the integrator. That integrated message signal is given to the phase modulator, where you are having one more input as a carrier wave, that gives you frequency modulated wave. Now for the generation of your narrowband frequency modulation, you have to further simplify that particular equation, and this is the block diagram of your narrowband frequency modulation. What is the narrowband frequency? First, what is the term you are giving? The message signal is given to the integrator, and the integrated part of your message signal, integration of m of t, is given as the one of the input for your product modulator. And another, here from here you are getting the carrier frequency, but this carrier frequency what you are getting is having a phase shift of minus 90 degrees, that is AC sin 2 pi fct, that is again given to your 2 pi kfc signal. Okay, that product modulator block. From here you will be subtracting the and getting the summation of your sin 2 pi fct, the carrier signal, and the modulated output will be your narrowband frequency modulated wave. This is how you will be getting the standard equation for your narrowband frequency modulation. I hope you are clear with the narrowband frequency modulation. Now see, what is the term you are doing? Okay, the integrator is used to integrate the modulating signal m of t. Now, and the carrier signal, which is AC cos 2 pi fct, is phase shifted to minus 90 degrees to get your AC sin 2 pi fct over here, and that gives your answer of minus 90 degrees phase shift, and the product of these both is given as the output as a narrowband frequency modulated wave. Clear? Now see the generation of your wideband frequency modulation. So how we are going to generate the wideband frequency modulation? Here we are having two methods. First one is direct method and second one is indirect method. So the following two methods for generation of your wideband frequency modulation are direct as well as the indirect method. See, in the direct method, the name itself you are getting direct method. Here we are going to generate a wideband frequency modulated wave directly. We are not going to generate. What is the generation that you are going to see over here? Wideband frequency modulation. So we are directly generating a WB signal. So in this method we only use a voltage controlled oscillator, okay, to generate a wideband frequency modulation. So what this VCO produces? An output signal whose frequency is directly proportional to your input signal voltage. That is, whenever you are increasing the voltage, input signal voltage, your frequency is also increased, because we are saying it is a wideband frequency modulation. So if frequency will be, your bandwidth will be wide, yes or no? So what actually VCO produces directly, whenever your voltage, input signal voltage is increasing, your frequency is also been increasing. So that's the reason we say that VCO produces an output signal whose frequency is proportional to input signal voltage. So this is similar to the definition of your frequency modulation wave. Okay, I hope you are clear with the direct method. Direct method just is having a VCO, voltage control oscillator, which generates the output signal and whose frequency is directly proportional to the input signal voltage. Here, now see the block diagram of that particular one, direct method. Here the modulating signal m of t is given to a VCO, voltage control oscillator, which produces the carrier signal, multiplies and gets your wideband frequency modulated wave. Okay, here the modulating signal m of t is applied as an input of the VCO, and that VCO produces an output which is nothing but a wideband frequency modulation. So your frequency is directly proportional to m of t. Can we say like it? Yes. So that is also Fi is nothing but carrier frequency plus frequency sensitivity into m of t. Thus we have got from the last in the last class we have discussed about this equation. So this is how you will be getting the direct method in. Okay, so where Fi is the instantaneous frequency of your wideband frequency modulation. Okay, this is the formula for your Fi, or the wideband frequency modulation wave. But the drawback here we are having is the frequency will be instability in your carrier frequency. The main drawback is your frequency will be unstable whenever you are modulating. Suppose the input voltage has been increased, so what happens, your frequency is also increased. Suppose in case if you are decreasing the voltage, input voltage has been, then obviously your frequency will also be decrease. So there is a instability in your frequency, which is in your carrier frequency. What VCO produces your carrier, and that itself multiplies with your message signal. So due to that one, that is a main drawback of your direct method of frequency modulation, because due to that we will be getting lots of distortions in your FM output, frequency modulated output. So as to overcome this drawback, we are going for the next method, that is your indirect method of your generation of your frequency modulation. So what is the drawback over here? The drawback of your frequency is unstable in your carrier frequency, and due to that one we will get a distorted FM output or frequency modulated output. As to overcome that one, we are going for the indirect method. This indirect method is also called as Armstrong method. Okay, remember the name. Sometimes the examiner may ask the question as a define, or they give the expression or explain about the Armstrong method. Armstrong method is nothing but indirect method of generation of your which modulation? Frequency modulation. So the limitation of the frequency instability of the carrier in direct method of your frequency modulation generation can be overcome in indirect method. Okay, which since it uses a stable crystal oscillator to generate a carrier. So what we are doing over here, we are using a stable crystal oscillator. So this is the one which gives the advantage, right? So we are using a stable crystal oscillator to generate a stable carrier signal, so that it can overcome the drawback which is occurred in your direct method of frequency modulation. Okay, in this method what we are going to generate? First we generate a narrow band frequency modulation. First a narrow band frequency modulated wave will generate, then with the help of a frequency multiplier we will generate get a wide band frequency modulated wave. So it is called as indirect method. First we will generate narrow band, then we go for the wide band. Okay, so I hope you are clear, you are not getting confused. So this is the indirect method, where the first signal m of t is given to the input of narrow band frequency modulator, and you are also getting the carrier frequency AC cos 2 pi FCT. Here you will be getting a narrow band frequency modulated wave, that is again given to a frequency multiplier, which multiplies a proper frequency to get your wide band frequency modulation. Okay, so in the first stage what you are going to do, narrow band frequency modulation wave is generated by using a narrow band frequency modulator, and we know that as the modulation index should be less than 1 for your narrow band. Okay, in order to get the required modulation index, what is the modulation index for getting your wide band frequency modulation? That should be beta should be greater than 1. So what this frequency multiplier does, it chooses the proper frequency or the proper value of that particular frequency to generate a wide band frequency modulation. Means it will be increasing the modulation index, the depth of the modulation will be increased, so as to get your wide band frequency modulation. Correct? So what is, again I will explain this block diagram. You will get first narrow band frequency modulator generates a narrow band frequency modulation. What is narrow band frequency modulation? Your beta value is less than 1. But what we are going to generate is wide band frequency modulation. So this frequency multiplier chooses a proper value of the frequency, to which your beta value should be increased more than 1, or the beta value should be greater than 1, so that you will be getting your wide band frequency modulation wave. Clear? Next, see what is frequency. The main important thing is your frequency multiplier. So the frequency multiplier what you are using is should be a non-linear device which produces an output signal whose frequency is n times the input signal frequency. Means it should multiply n times than that of your what the input signal. If I am giving us 1, then 1 into 1 to the power of n or 2 to the power of n frequencies that has to be generated. So that's the reason you will get a wide band frequency modulation. So what is your which the frequency multiplier is usually use a non-linear device, either diode you can use it over there. Okay, so frequency multiplier uses a non-linear device which produces the output signal whose frequency will be n times than that of your input signal frequency. Okay, n is your multiplication factor. So in narrowband frequency modulation wave, the modulation index beta is less than 1, which is applied as an input of the frequency multiplier. Then the frequency multiplier produces an output whose modulation index is n times than that of your beta. Yes or no, ma? I hope you are getting what I am saying. So your beta, what first we are going to generate narrowband whose value, beta value is less than 1. So that is given to your frequency multiplier. That frequency multiplier, what it does, it multiplies the input signal n times. Okay, so your beta will be multiplied n times, and the frequency is also now n times than that of the frequency. So that is equal to your wideband frequency modulation. So your modulation index is n times of your beta, and the frequency also n times the frequency of your wideband modulation or the wideband. So sometimes you require multiple stages of the frequency multiplier and mixers in order to increase the frequency deviation and the modulation index of your FM wave. Why we are saying this last sentence? Because once for the first time, if there are some 2 to 3 multipliers we can use at that part, because for the first, if you are using one multiplier, we may not get that particular increased version of your modulation index. If you are using 2 to 3 multipliers, what happens in case the first multiplier does not get the proper value greater than 1, again it will go for the one more multiplier. 2 to 3 times we can go on multiplying and get your wideband frequency modulation. So this is how your wideband frequency modulation or the frequency modulation is being used. I hope you are clear with this generation of your frequency modulation. Let's quickly revise once again. See, generation of frequency modulation can be done by only 2 blocks. We have to integrate for the message signal, and that integrated message signal should be given to a phase modulator, and there you will be getting a minus 90 degrees of phase shift, and you will get a FM signal. So this is your FM signal standard. Your FM signal are of 2 types: narrowband frequency modulation and wideband frequency modulation. For getting this narrowband frequency modulation, you have to just simplify the equation, and this is how the block diagram. Integrator you will be having a product modulator and 2 inputs of product modulator. Out of one you are getting the integrated message signal, and the second one you are getting from minus 90 degrees phase shift. Okay, that is AC sin 2 pi FCT. As it is a narrowband frequency modulation, your beta value should be less than 1, and your cos theta will be approximately equals to 1, cos theta and sin theta. So you will get the standard equation of narrowband frequency modulation like this. Then you are going for the generation of your wideband frequency modulation. For generating the wideband frequency modulation, we are having 2 methods. First one is direct method, and second one is indirect method. In direct method, what you are having? Directly you are having a simple voltage controlled oscillator. It itself generates its carrier frequency. It multiplies your message signal and gets your wideband frequency modulation. But the drawback over here, and the important point you have to remember here is, its frequency is directly proportional to your input signal or the input signal voltage. So whenever your voltage increases, your frequency also increases. So drawback over here is there is an instability in your frequency. Yes or no? Whenever you are increasing the input, it also increases, decreases, it also decreases. So there is an instability in that particular frequency. So as to overcome this drawback, we are going for the indirect method. That is nothing but your Armstrong method, which overcomes a drawback which we have got in the direct method. Here what you are doing in indirect method, the name itself, it shows first we are generating a narrowband frequency modulation wave, then it is given to a frequency multiplier. Here the frequency multiplier, why we are using? Because we are generating a wideband modulation. Narrowband modulation index will be less than 1. So we have to increase the modulation index value to greater than 1. Beta should be greater than 1. So it should multiply that one. So frequency is n times than that of your input. You are multiplying the frequency n times than that of your input frequency. So that's how you will be getting your output as your wideband frequency modulation. And the frequency multiplier usually uses a non-linear devices. I hope you are clear with today's topics, and don't forget to do the assignment problems. Okay, we'll just end the class today here itself. Thank you.